Hello, everybody, and welcome to Chakras and Cuss Words. Today's podcast is a bonus podcast, and it's really exciting. Today, I have Mr. Daniel Dorr, who is the producer and director of a new movie coming out called Mr. Nelson on the North Side. This movie highlights Prince, the late superstar, legendary musical artist and lyricist Prince. So, Mr. Daniel, please introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about you.
Sure. Well, thank you for doing this, having me. This is what I do. I've been making films and television shows all my life. I never delved into the world of music documentaries. It's been an interesting treat, to say the least, because it was very much a human connection type of project. And the fact that it was Prince made it even more interesting to me. So most of the projects that I've done, they're scripted. So scripted feature films, going off on a documentary and searching the world for Prince. That was a fascinating story, and I'll tell you about it.
Oh, that sounds amazing. So how did you get introduced to this? Like, how did you get introduced to Prince?
So interestingly enough, you're familiar with the names Des Dickerson and Andre Simone?
Yes.
So
yeah, a little.
They were part of Prince's band. They were bandmates at the very beginning of the revolution, and they were a threesome. Prince lived with Andre in his basement when he left his family, or his father and mother, and they embarked on doing, after Prince passed away, they embarked on doing their own film, and they asked me to come in and help put it together. A friend of mine who was in the position of directing that film asked if I could come in and help put it together and finance it. And I was really intrigued because I knew, first of all, I knew a bit about Prince, not as much as I know today, but
Right.
but I thought the bandmates and having that insight to what I perceived as a mysterious man was fascinating to me.
Yeah.
The issue was as Prince passed without without a will, there was the contentious issue of the estate was in full steam ahead. Everyone was, and I have to just be realistic with this terminology.
Yeah.
Everyone was after a piece of that estate.
Of course. Yeah.
Siblings who were not siblings were coming out of the woodwork and claiming that they were, a sister or a brother or a son or whatever. And it ended up in the courts. And to this day, well over 5 years now, after his passing, they're still in court.
Wow.
So, and I've followed it all the way through since doing this project. When they contacted me, which is probably, almost 3 years ago. This has been a long-standing project. And the issue was getting any Prince music. So how do you do a documentary about, Salvador Dali and not show a painting of his?
Yeah.
How do you do a documentary like that? So that was my issue with Prince. How do I not express his music?
Yeah.
And make a documentary, a story about him? So that was a problem, and other people had attempted to do it, but this story was very different. When I realized we couldn't, or they couldn't get the music, I just found another direction that I wanted to take, and I started my own movie.
Okay. So because Prince is like a legendary status. Like I feel like everybody knows who Prince is. Even if you weren't like a huge Prince fan growing up, you still know who Prince is.
Yes.
And when all these like legal matters happen and all that stuff, did you like almost feel like this might not happen? Because
yeah, very much so. But I was when I had started the project, I realized there was a side to this story that had to be told. And it's a beautiful side to the story, and it's really what motivates me today. just to give you a little background, I'm pretty well the same age as Prince.
Okay.
So I grew up seeing him throughout my life and experiencing his music, but never from the perspective of a super fan. It was
Okay.
it was I was one of those individuals that listened to his music and saw him and couldn't figure him out.
Oh.
I
Okay.
have to tell you that, flash forward to today, after really researching and doing all of this work on Prince, he is, to me today, the most remarkable human being that I know in my lifetime.
Oh
I
yeah.
am so absolutely consumed by this individual and overwhelmed by his abilities.
Yeah.
There's a lot to the inside of his story that I can share. There are some things that I can't share. I was promised
Of
not to,
course.
but
Yeah.
when I went into the community of North Minneapolis, I first went to, with our team, we went to the radio station in North Minneapolis where Q Bear, who is this host, was really the spokesperson of that community in North Minneapolis. And that's, they call him Q Bear. And I ended up meeting and interviewing a secondary fellow by the name of Spike Moss. Let me give you some background on this. So the film is really focused on what made this individual Prince. What were the inspirations? What were what was the music and the people that influenced this young man to become who he was? This extraordinary individual, this extraordinary musician. And in turn, even though he's gone today, how has he and how does he continue to inspire those artists around the world and his fans? So that's the focus of the movie. It wasn't to talk about his death or exploit, the news side of it. It was to celebrate this incredible human being's life legacy. And that's what this film is about. So, for instance, I tried to work with the estate to get music, and it was impossible. I mean, no matter how much money we offered, and we offered huge sums of money to be able to get even a couple of songs, it was not going to happen. And so what happened was a lot of the bandmates and friends and people that were inspired by Prince came together to score the film in his honor. So again, I felt that in paying tribute to this incredible human being, everyone came together collectively to make this film. It's not me. This is sort of a group hug from everyone that loves Prince, and that's what this movie's about.
Yeah. I really like how you said this is like a group hug for everybody who loves Prince, because like growing up, I was at a very young age, very intrigued with Prince. I loved the music. I was a huge Prince fan. I mean, my dad took me to see Purple Rain at I think I was like 9 or 8. I mean, it probably wasn't appropriate, but that was the kind of fan I was. Like, I wouldn't leave him alone. And, and of course it was a pretty sexy movie, but I was just like, you have to take me to see this movie. I love Prince, and I had the Prince t-shirts. I had all the records. I loved Prince. Like, I remember people would ask me, who's your favorite musician or artist? And it was automatically Prince. There's only been a few people, celebrity status, who has influenced me as a person growing up. One was Frida Kahlo, and then the other one was Prince. And those are the two main ones that have necessarily been staples of my life. I absolutely adore both of them. And how do you think people, because you really built that relationship with his fans and also the people who worked with him to bring that justice of who Prince was and what he meant to his fans. How do you think he was able to do that? Or was it just because people were so intrigued by him that he was just, I mean, I just think he's pure magic. He's just like one of the most talented people I've ever seen. I was able to see him live twice, in concert.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Well, well, your expression of your feelings towards him and his music is shared around the world, and that intrigued me even more. I mean, I have to tell you, once I got into this, I had no idea what was coming, and I can also tell you that the fan base, and I'll give you some inside information on that fan base, the super fans or fams, as
Yeah.
he called them. So uh, the is that he has really, so many people, but he's also built this connection with his fans that are so visceral and deep and loving. And I was just absolutely captivated by that, because I'm looking at all other artists. I mean, if you were, at the top of that world of musicianship, you may look at the legends of Elvis Presley and Michael Jackson, who are extraordinary in their own world.
Mm-hmm.
But Prince did something different. He connected with fans and his listeners on a personal level. And even though he was a private individual, how did he do that? That's what
Right.
fascinated me.
He's
And
extremely private.
so aside from, like, and I don't want to make a comparison to Elvis
Right.
Presley or Michael Jackson, because both of those people are they're legends in their own right. But Prince performed every instrument and excelled beyond people's wildest expectations. And interviewing a lot of celebrities that we had, even they said that he surpassed them. So here's a fellow who's learned every single instrument and that he could get his hands on. I think the total is about 24, where he performed these instruments to perfection and created music through all genres of music, funk, blues, jazz, rock. And he did it with messages. And
Mm-hmm.
those messages is what captivated you, me, and all those other fans. Because once you get to know that this man truly is, he combines music and love.
Mm-hmm.
And I never understood that. I never grew up, having people say, I love you or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And here was an individual that truly loved his fans.
Mm-hmm.
Being in that world and that stature of who Prince was, it was very hard to trust people.
Yeah.
And anyone, I mean, again, Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley, major musicians, trust factor is a big issue in their lives. And Prince was the same thing. I mean, look, he's human, and he wasn't perfect from a humanistic perspective and connecting with people, but he knew who he was and how to communicate his messaging. The beautiful part about that whole thing about expressing love and connectivity and unity amongst all of us was really in his soul. It was part of
Mm-hmm.
him. And that's, I think, why we all gravitated to him, because he is and was and will still continue to be authentic.
Mm-hmm.
So I I I was just amazed every day that something new would come out
Right.
from his fan base. I'm not sure if many people know this, but he invited uh, his fans from all over the world to come in for these free private sessions at his home, where he would just play music all night long.
Wow.
And those super fans were contacted, within a couple of days' notice. People would fly in from overseas just to
Yeah.
be there that night. And that's how powerful those evenings were. So he would prefer, this man was made to perform and to play music. So why not have people appreciate it? So his home, Paisley Park, was filled with his super fams, FAM, family,
Mm-hmm.
um, every week. I mean, it just, what people would just come in. And the stories are extraordinary of those evenings.
Yeah.
And that's what the part of the movie's about, is to share that connectivity and what he did and what he's done for other people. He was an incredibly generous man, but never wanted anyone to know that he was giving that way, because he didn't do it for the pat on the back. He
Yeah.
never wanted people to say, "Hey, man, you were really, that was very generous of you." He kept that very private. Those are some of the things that I was asked to keep private as well. Some of the generous things that he's done. But I can tell you, he's done these generous things from his heart, not for fame, not to be patted on the back, just because of love. And that's who Prince is.
Yeah, that's what everybody like says when you like watch movies about Prince or documentaries or interviews, that he, was very caring and loving and like a genuinely nice person. and,
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
cared about his fans. Like, he didn't see them as, just fans. He saw them as like people that he had a relationship with. And I think that's why like so many of his fans took it so hard when he, passed away. And a lot of people, um, I mean, I was very upset when Prince passed away. And I know my husband was almost like not really teasing me, but he was like, "It's going to be okay," like. But it's
Yeah.
like people don't understand, the chance to see somebody who you've like loved for years, decades,
Mm-hmm.
somebody that I grew up with, his music, like I still play his music probably daily,
Wow. Mm.
so it's somebody who has really, touched my life as a young girl growing up to a woman. So um, when you started making this movie, what were your main focus points that you wanted people to know about Prince?
Well, again, focusing on the influences upon this individual and what made him who he was. So um, the movie focuses a lot on those earlier years. So what influenced Prince? In the 60s, there were civil rights issues that exploded, specifically in North Minneapolis, in Chicago, other areas in the states with civil rights issues, and that community exploded. It ignited, and out of those kind of ashes, came this individual. And this is a big focus of the film as well. So I don't want to give you too much, but I will tell you that this is where the film took a complete right turn, because I realized that whatever happened, a message kind of came to me and said, Dan, this is what Prince would want you to do. If I were in the room with Prince, he would want me to take this direction. And here's the direction. In that time, there was an individual named Spike Moss who was a 7-time Golden Glove boxing champion, made a lot of money, best friends with major boxers, Muhammad Ali, all of these famous people, Hollywood people. And when these riots happened in North Minneapolis, and he saw so many of these young disenfranchised youth on the streets having just no hope and nowhere to go, he was the director of a community center called The Way. And his vision of The Way was not to help these young Black men and women just have go to a community center and get a basketball and a guitar and go have fun. This was an environment of unity, and he wanted you to have this was really Spike's mission. He wanted these youth to really be inspired, have self-respect, have respect for others, how to dress, how to walk, how to talk, and really set themselves up for being the best at what they could do. And as a result, Prince came under his wing as one of them. Now, many people came out of that incredible environment. Uh, I mean, they even had, you know, Black history classes. So it was having an understanding and a pride of your past and your present and where you can go in the future with your skills.
I love that.
That
Yeah.
that is what happened with Prince. So Prince was there at the Way for 6 years. That transformed him. Spike was his music kind of mentor, and Prince was very, very, very shy and couldn't face the audience. Spike actually had to work with him to turn around and face the audience. He would always play with his equipment on stage when he was a young teenager, and pretend that something was wrong. But really, what it was he couldn't face the audience, and that whole experience of the Way and making all of these young men and women feel comfortable in their own skin and proud of who they were just ignited their own creativity and experiences. I mean, I'm talking about senators and lawyers and judges, and all kinds of people came out of that small community center called the Way. And I realized they all became successful as a result of that experience.
Wow.
Mhm. So, that was my focus. Once I realized how powerful this community center was, it became a bit more of the focus of the story. I ended up meeting Shaka Khan because I desperately wanted her in the film to really get her take, because Shaka knew Prince, for more than anyone else, from even before he was on stage till his death, and
Wow.
they were very close. It was very much brother sisterly love, and so she had insight into his life and into this person that I really wanted. When she saw what I was trying to do with this film, she said, "You've got an extraordinary opportunity here, and the opportunity is this." Prince went to Spike to say, because the Way had closed down. It had turned into a police station. And so Prince eventually went back to Spike and said, "Let's rebuild it for the youth today." And they looked at a building. Spike and him worked together. This is obviously, many years later.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Prince passed away. And that dream faded out. Nothing happened. When I met Spike, I realized how remarkable this human being really is and what he's done and how much he's inspired so many people, that I
Yeah.
thought, I want to finish what Spike did. I want to rebuild the Way. I want to continue that process. And that's what this movie's about. This
Wow.
movie is about rebuilding the Way in some form to help the youth of North Minneapolis, going through COVID, going through the issues of George Floyd, and the stress of these young individuals over this past year.
Yeah.
I just wanted to help and give back, and again give that Prince community hug, and that's what I'm trying to do with this movie.
And
Wow.
it's beautiful. It's beautiful because folks forget that Prince wrote the song "Baltimore" because of police brutality case that happened with someone from his area, Freddie Gray. So Prince has been involved, as Dan says, in activism. If he was alive today and he was around for George Floyd, he'd probably be doing free concerts just to unite people. Prince would be, I really believe in my spirit that he would want to spread love, comfort to his fans, but also have his fans and say, "Hey guys, we have to do something." Because Prince was like he would create artists and music to connect the community. He was so good at that. Like it was an
Right.
actual ingenious thing that he did. And every artist nowadays are doing it. Like Beyonce, she did Black Parade. Like artists are now doing what Prince has been doing for decades. So
Right.
it's just beautiful to, with this story, like what Dan was saying, like you're gonna hear about Prince the way that you've never ever seen before, ever.
That's amazing. Yeah. It sounds like it's going to be an amazing documentary and just have an overall pure message of, and giving back to the community and opening back up the Way and starting basically, starting a new legacy, for the young people who don't necessarily know him like, some of us do, or have listened to him, or, they're just kind of learning. Like, I think my children know who Prince is because of me, not necessarily because it's still, kids are so stuck in their time era, but just seeing the actual history of who he is, that's amazing that it's able to happen and continue the legacy of Prince. Um, when actually, Jeanelle, I would love for you to introduce yourself, because I know you kind of popped off and then popped back on. So
Yes.
we have one of the women behind the scenes in this amazing documentary, Mr. Nelson on the North Side. Please introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about you and how you got involved in this amazing documentary.
Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Jeanelle Igwe. And yes, honestly, I pretty much got involved just to serve. Like you, Catherine, I love Prince. But I would say for me, I was young, right, when he was blowing up, but my brother was a huge Prince fan. And so I always give credit to Prince because when I was going through something at home, when parents are divorcing and all that stuff, uh, as kids, like you don't really know what's going on, right? But you're sad, like you're
Yeah.
confused, you don't know what's going on. And Prince really, like his music helped me through that time of confusion. Like When Doves Cry, when I was a child, I played that song so like on repeat, on repeat, on repeat.
Mm-hmm.
And I never knew what the song meant because, again, I'm
Mm.
9, 10.
Yeah.
And when I got older, I was like, hold up. This song is about people. Like it was crazy how it
Right.
connected the dots for me. And I was like, wow, this this song I had to repeat as a kid. It soothes me. Prince music soothed me. I didn't know why. I didn't understand the words, but it just soothed me through a difficult time. And he was definitely a part of my I would say evolution of Jeanelle and becoming from the island girl to Canada and stuff like that. So I'm sure there's many other fans that can relate to the story because Prince music has helped so many fans come out of difficult situations, abusive relationships, family issues, like you can name it. So Prince was really a healer. Like he healed
Yeah.
us guys through music. And that's something that he did. Like there's some music you can play that it's fun, it's hippie, but his music actually healed your soul. And I think that's why Prince fans, oh my gosh, Prince fans, we're so crazy. Like I love us. Like we are, no, like
They
honestly,
are.
we are
Right.
the most intense fans. Like we don't play with our purple king. Like don't even
No.
talk to us. He is the one. And I just love it. I digress. So I saw Dan in Clubhouse talking about this film, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. And I love the whole fact that, Dan was trying to tie in the charity aspect, to serve. Because of course, I'm sure Dan could probably sell this to anyone, Netflix, Amazon, you name it, easily, right? It's Prince's story. Everyone wants to know about Prince, but he kept it
Yeah.
and said, I want to serve this to the fans directly. I don't want the middleman. I want to give it to the fans directly. And on top of that, I want to also try to also raise money for great programs in North Minneapolis. And I'm like, okay, what a great idea. So I
Yeah.
was like, hey, Dan, I'm DMing you right now. I love what you're doing. I'm here to serve, to help. Let's do this. So me and Dan had a call. We talked and we just connected over Prince and the fact that we both had the same spirit of wanting to give back, right? Like
Yeah.
my drive is always to give back and help others. So the fact that Dan aligned with that, it was like magic made in heaven. And now we're both working and I get to support Dan and really help with this team to really help us serve Prince, but serve the fans. Like for me, the movie is an element that I think people are going to love, but I'm just trying to really, from a marketing strategy, we're really trying to connect the fans to each other because the fans are
Mm.
so we're all over the place. There's fans
Right.
from older to younger. Like one lady I met online, she's like 19 and she is crazier than me for Prince, right? Like we
And
are
she's
everywhere.
19.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it just shows that Prince is still relevant. He's still important. He still matters. But we rarely hear his stuff now. I'm happy his album's coming out, I believe, coming up this month in July. But the fans are
Mm.
still, I feel like the fans have been so separated. And I'm hoping with this film, we can unite together. We can celebrate this life, this huge influence on all of our lives, and really share his message and his story for humanitarian. Because that's the thing with
Mm-hmm.
Prince. The music was a part of his healing to us. The music
Mm-hmm.
was an element to how he wanted to heal the world. And that's why he was so good. Like Dad mentioned, him playing instruments, it was like second, like he had this ability, like to me, it's God given.
Right.
Who do we know that can play 24 instruments? Like that's insane to me. This is a
Yeah.
God given gift that he got, that he shared with the world. So I hope anyone listening right now, if you got a God given gift, make sure that gift is being shared to heal us. Because right
Mm-hmm.
now we need healing. So yeah, that's my little story, y'all. I kind of went off track. But anyway, I love Prince. He is the bomb. He's the best musician of all time. Don't at me. And that's it, my girl, Catherine.
I love it. I love it. I love
Yes.
it. I love it. So, Daniel, when you started this process, how did you start? Like, did you just go out there and was like, I'm just going to make a film? I mean, about Prince, or did you already, or did the idea come once you started meeting and hearing about him?
Well, I connected with some of the fan sites and some of his fans. And when I did, just over the phone, just calling some people, I felt that powerful connection that I had not experienced in my life. I mean, I'd never seen anything quite like it. And, you know, I, I don't want to call it an obsession because that's maybe feels like a negative term. It was truly this magical connection of love that these people had for
Mm-hmm.
him. And I needed to find that. I needed to find that for myself. And Jeanelle said it so eloquently. You know, it's something that he gives that has the ability to heal us. And that's what I was gravitating towards because I wanted that. I was seeking something like that myself, but I found it through so many other people. So I never connected with Prince until after
Mm.
really making this film. In hindsight, I'm devastated because I had opportunities to meet him
Wow.
over the past years, and I'm just devastated that I didn't really take people up on that to introduce me. And
Mm-hmm.
now I'm just in awe of him. And it's not being impressed by someone who's got that talent. It's being impressed by the human being. He
Wow. Yeah.
truly is extraordinary. And I think that's what we all feel about him. Now, people who don't know Prince, the I guess that's really the message that I wanted to communicate is that
Mm-hmm.
this isn't just a performer that we all like his music and we all follow him. There's a
Right.
lot more to this story, and I think that's really what I want to communicate and connect with new fans. Like I'm telling you, I went to some of these events in Minneapolis in his hometown where all ages, I don't care how old you were there dancing to
Mm-hmm.
his music and being part of it. People just wanted to be a part of it. And that's so infectious and exciting. And I think that the pain of his death, though it's still there, I think it's turned into a much more beautiful thing, a celebratory thing.
Mm-hmm.
People really feel him still there. And I think it will
Yes.
be like that forever.
Oh,
I,
yeah.
I don't think it's just, oh, let's listen to a Prince song. There's
No.
messaging here that goes along with it. Um, and as we all know, I mean, there's this incredible, vast amount of music in this vault. And the estimation is that they can release an album every year for the next 100 years. That's
Wow.
how that's how much music he put out. He wanted to keep putting music out, and the record companies were saying, no, you can't do that. People, will get tired. But he couldn't stop producing music. It's who he
Mm.
was.
Yeah.
So we get the benefit of all of that music production. We'll be hearing new music over all of our lifetimes. By the end of
Right.
our lives, new music by Prince.
Do you think the fans, I mean, I know the fans will automatically accept, whatever he puts out or whatever the estate lets come out. But do you think people are almost like, when somebody passes, that with that music, it continues to just grow and grow the fan base? Or do you think people are more hesitant?
I think that, it's interesting because when I look back to 60s, 70s, 80s music of that era, a lot of, I have a daughter that is young and literally follows the music that I grew up with. So I
Yeah.
think that there's always this appreciation
Mm-hmm.
for just music, and I just don't think his music is time stamped. I think it will
No.
live on forever.
Oh, yeah.
So my feeling is, I know I've heard of Purple Nights where
Yeah.
20-year-olds are having parties.
Wow.
20-year-olds, this
Right.
man. So yeah, I think he will connect and continually connect with brand new fans.
Yeah. I like how you guys came up with the title of the movie. And it's almost like if you weren't a diehard Prince fan, or you weren't a fan who necessarily, if you just knew Prince, because the movie's Mr. Nelson on the North Side. So can you give us a little history about the title? How did you come up with that?
Sure. So he had he had a nickname when he was a little kid, and as he got older and he started to play music, he really wanted his stage name, and he went to the record companies and he said, I want to be known as Mr. Nelson. I think that really stemmed a lot from his relationship with his father, which was a very complex relationship, very complex. And it goes into some of the detail about that relationship with his dad. Prince fans kind of understand that there was a conflict, but there's some reasons why. And Prince really felt his father was more than just aggressive at pushing Prince to be better. He always said, I'm better than you. I'm better than you. You got to be better than that. And his father was a tyrant when it came to that. And Prince, all he really wanted to do was to meet up to the expectations of his dad. So every chance he got, he kept pushing and pushing and pushing. But his father would never embrace Prince, and really that pride never showed through. His father was a narcissist. There's no doubt about it. A clinical narcissist, and really took the stage away from Prince at all times. And Prince, all he wanted the love of his dad. He wanted to prove to his dad. I think that was one of the big pushes. So when it was Mr. Nelson, that was very important to him. He wanted to be equal, I think, to his father. I think he really wanted to be known as that because he had such high regard for his father's ability, his father's musical ability. But of course, it's ridiculous because the record companies were saying, "Are you kidding? Look at your name, Prince. That is a stage name beyond." So after pushing and pushing and pushing, everyone finally convinced him. But he really was set. He said, "No, I want to be known as Mr. Nelson." And I did this kind of out of respect. There's a couple of reasons why I did it, but I like the idea of the respect. And he was a product of his father and his upbringing and Spike, and the North Side was his beloved home. That he stayed there. He could have been living in a Hollywood mansion and doing whatever he did, but he loved his community, gave to his community, helped people. That's what I love about him, is that he was really true to himself and his community.
Yeah.
I just wish I could be anywhere near that. Like I aspire to be a fraction of who this man really was.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. So if we were to say Prince, people would also think that this is a film. This is a biography of Prince. This isn't his biography. I mean, I don't go into, he was married to this person and they
Right.
divorced, and
The
no,
timeline of his, yeah.
if you're a fan, you know all that stuff anyhow.
Right.
You know his life inside out.
Yes,
And
they do.
if you're a fan, I don't really need to have his music in the film, because you've got it on your phone already and you listen to it every day.
Right.
What I wanted to do was to produce things and share with his fans things that they wouldn't know. And I think we did that with this movie.
Oh, that's amazing. I really like how you brought up how he didn't necessarily leave and do the Hollywood, buy a mansion in Beverly Hills or Malibu or somewhere like that. I mean, I'm located in California, but I'm a Northern Californian, and I always say, like, I never plan on leaving California. Like, this is my roots. Like, I have so much history here, just I love California, and for him to go back to his roots, and even though he could be anywhere, and for him to stay focused in his community and where he came from is just a huge, element of who he was. And I love that you brought that up, because he really did care about his neighbors, his community, and the people that he serviced, with his magic of being a amazing artist and musician. So I really like how the movie just is going to show so much of him, not the glitz and the glamour and the timeline of his relationships and stuff like that, but the actual who he was.
Yes.
So
And that's
I love
important,
that.
right? Like, I love the
Yes.
fact that it's human, right? Like, sometimes, you know, um, we look at all these amazing, famous people, but they're humans first. And
Right.
I think the Prince fans understand that. Like, this is the first fan base that I've been involved with that truly understand his humanity. Other fans are all about just, like, majority of like their music and what they can do. But there's few fan bases that actually understand that this artist, this person, he really wanted to help us. He wanted to help his fans and people. Like, even if you ever see stuff he wrote to his like fans, like his letters to fans, how he wrote to them, it wasn't just like a little like whatever Prince. Like, he actually took time to write things out. Like, he really cared for us. He really did. So
Yeah.
so I feel like what Dan said, in spite that he's not with us anymore, we have to continue to ensure that everything we do for him is going to be inspired by by who he was and how he did it. Right. That's our goal with this campaign, with this entire movie, is to ensure that that comes across in genuine spirit and energy and everything. Yeah.
Definitely. So how can people find this movie? Like, when is it being released? When, like, tell us all the goods about what's coming out, because now everybody's gonna
So
want to know.
so what I'll do, so I will share how they can find us online, and then Dan can share about release and all that. So where you can
Okay.
find us, y'all. So if you want, you can email us, join the Purple Nation movement. It is info@onthenorthside.com. We're also running a few campaigns. Purple Nation Got Talent, as well as What Prince Means to Me. You can hashtag it, send in a video, whatever you would like. But we really want to showcase, because there's so many talented people that are Prince fans, and we really want to show you guys off. So please submit your artwork. If you're a singer, you're a poet, we'll take it all. So submit the information to us. And then for the website, it is www.onthenorthside.com. Okay. And the site will be updated. It has information on the groups we're actually going to be providing charities to, in on the north side of Minneapolis. So that will be up there as well. And on all the socials, we are Mr. Under Nelson _film. So Mr._Nelson_film, and that's on IG, Twitter, Facebook. It's actually the movie name. Join Purple Nation, y'all. We would love to meet you guys. And I've been getting some amazing messages on IG, on Facebook. The fans are just so amazing. I'm also in quite a few Prince groups. So it's a big family community. So that's about it from my end. Dan, I guess tell the folks when this will be released, tell them what's coming up so they can get prepared for it.
Sure. So again, from the charity aspect of this, we have two charities that we follow and that we support with the film. One is called Hopewell Music, which is a music uh, uh, a music school in North Minneapolis in his community that supports youth with teaching music and giving them instruments, regardless of their financial position. So this is a Prince moment, right? So we want to give back to them. And the other one um, is a foundation that it's called Stair Step Foundation, and it really is about community. They support communities throughout the state of Minnesota, and it's done through churches, through African American churches, and it's kind of the unification of them coming together to focus on each community. And I kind of love that because it is always about supporting and giving back to the community. So first, we're going to be giving away some extraordinary prizes. I mean, it's not prizes. It's just like, I guess, how would you phrase it? I mean, we're for if you donate to the charities, you sort of get a position where you can win one of these, and we have some really exciting ones that you'll see online soon. The film will be out. We're estimating. We were kind of hoping for the end of July because of the new album coming out, but I think we may hold off another week or two. So it's probably going to be mid-August. But you'll be seeing things online, and we'll be keeping, just keep coming back and connecting with us, and we'll give you information on a weekly basis. We'll be connecting with the fans daily. But I would estimate that mid-August is when you're going to be able to finally see the movie, and you'll hear a lot about it.
Yes, and just to add to the donation, so what's really great is that we really want the donations to be the forefront, but if you donate, every dollar you donate, you will get a ballot, and that ballot will help you win specific Prince prizes that only we will have for the fans. So it's like by you giving back to the Minneapolis community, you could potentially win some amazing gifts and donations, or sorry, I say giveaways for donating, and that way, you're gonna feel fulfilled because I'm donating money towards a community that Prince grew up in, and on top of that, I might win something that's like a Prince specific design or prize. So it's like, again, it's like give and take. It's a win-win. We want you guys to win, not only by watching the film, but also win some really good goodies that will be Prince focused for the fans. Because we know the fans love anything that's Prince, right? So we want to obviously get these items for the fans, so that way if they donate, they can, win an amazing prize. And again, it's all about the celebration. At the end of the day, it's all about celebrating Prince and coming together as one people, for sure.
That's amazing. That's just so great that you guys are giving back to the fans and having this message continue to go. And I know the documentary is going to be absolutely awesome. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to watch it. I can't wait to share it. I know it's going to be great. I will have all the links in the show notes for everybody who is interested in getting more information on how they can donate, how they can watch the movie, joining the Purple Nation, and just joining all the hashtags and all the fun that's coming around as the movie starts to come out, as Mr. Nelson on the North Side's getting ready to publish. So all that will be in the podcast notes as well, so you guys can find those link-friendly avenues to go to. So I just want to thank you guys so much for coming on Chakras and Cuss Words podcast. And is there anything else you would like to close out with before we end?
I'll go.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll go first. Yeah, Dan is good at closing things off, so I'm gonna go first. So I just want to say to all the fans that I love you guys. I hope you're doing well. The pandemic is almost at the end. I know it's been a very trying year for most of us. So
Yes.
I'm proud of you. You are worthy. You are loved, and we're gonna get through this as one people. Okay, so don't give up. Don't give in. You have this. And if you're ever in doubt, play a beautiful Prince album. There's a lot of them. Music. I love playing My Simple When Doves Cry. That gets me through things all the time. But whatever it is, your Prince song, you play it and just mellow out, y'all. That's it. I'm Jeanelle.
I love it.
I love you, Jeanelle. Your energy is so incredible. I love it. I think that's what I love about this more than anything. This isn't my film. This isn't something. This is shared. It's exactly who Prince is. It's community. And all I wanted to say is, I'm just so thrilled. I'm honored to be doing this and to having this opportunity to be a part of it, because I get that infectious reaction that Jeanelle just had from the fans. And boy, if you're not a Prince fan, I really recommend start hanging out with some and being a part of that community. And it'll just blow your mind. It is such a wonderful group of people. And you'll learn a lot. You'll learn a lot about yourself too.
Yes, definitely. Prince fans are the best fans ever.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for coming on Chakras and Cuss Words. And I just want to wish you guys the absolute best. I'm so excited for this movie. I'm so excited for this podcast to come out and for people to find you guys and to share the purple Prince love everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Everywhere, y'all. Just purple everywhere. Purple confetti. Just flowing everywhere.
Yes.
Thank you for doing this. Thank you for having us.
Yes. Thank you so much. You are welcome. I'm honored to be on a podcast with you guys to talk about Prince. I mean, it's like I wish I could talk about, Prince all the time.
It's like the Prince podcast.
Do it. We will.
Yes.
Well, also, guys, keep in mind, if you're on Clubhouse, we're going to be trying to get some rooms together for the documentary. So,
yes.
So Catherine, I'm gonna get you involved to be a mod. Because I got you, girl. And then we want to definitely get some folks on there to just kind of talk about Prince and have conversations. I know Dan's trying to get some folks that were in the film to come on to kind of do little teasers for the fans to can ask a few questions. But we really want to be a community event. So that's why we'll be in Clubhouse. We'll try to go in Green Room. We're gonna be everywhere. To be honest. So
you guys have some amazing people, like just in the movie alone, in the documentary. You guys have like Shaka Khan, you have Chuck D, you have a lot of amazing Dennis Quaid. Like you have an amazing lineup of people who are speaking and sharing their knowledge about Prince. So definitely, if you aren't, I feel like even if you aren't a Prince fan, because there's so many people who maybe aren't necessarily would say that they're a Prince diehard fan, you know what I mean? But if you recognize his music, just take the time to learn more about him and learn what an amazing person he was and how much he gave back, because it really is a staple of what it means to be a humanitarian, what it means to be a giving soul, what it means to be somebody who has gratitude and continues to manifest greatness. I mean, that's really what he is, a true manifester of just absolute magic, greatness, and everything. And I think a lot of that came back to his gratitude for who he was, his life lessons, and staying focused on his roots, honestly. So amazing documentary. I'm excited. I'm so excited.
Yay!
Well, thank you guys so much, and I hope you guys have a great day, and I'm sure I will see you around on Clubhouse soon.
Yes, girl. Probably also at IG. I'm gonna see you, Catherine. I'm gonna
Okay.
see you.